6 o'clock. I'd like to call the June 4th, 2024 Village Board meeting to order. Trustee White, will you lead us in the pledge, please?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
President Conan,
Here.
Trustee Michaels,
Here.
Trustee White,
Here.
Trustee Lindy,
Here.
Trustee Herron,
Here.
Trustee Bonnie,
Here.
Trustee Shomas.
We do have a quorum this evening. Nothing under public hearing this evening. Under appointments and presentations, we have AR Building Company Incorporated, concept plan for Division Drive. Danny, will you introduce this item, please? Yes.
Village has been approached by AR Development Company for property that's located on Division Drive across from Aldi south of the EEI building. They are interested in constructing a multi-family development on this property, and they are here to give you guys a presentation on their proposal, and what they're interested in doing. They are looking for direction from the board, how to proceed with applying for development approval for their plans. They will present now.
We have representatives from AR Building. Welcome.
It's lost again.
Hi, my name is Jason Kambitsis, K-A-M-B-I-T-S-I-S. I'm the president of AR Development Company. So we're here to talk about a potential project that we're proposing on Division Drive. It was just, I don't know if it's...
Yeah, sorry.
No problem. No problem. So I'll just go through a little background of who we are. It's going to show AR Building Company, which is our parent organization. We have currently over 9,000 units, and we're working in 14 states. We build, buy, and manage all of our own property. We're a privately held company, so we're owned by one owner. There's no outside people, no partners, no anything. This is one family, one owner of this company. And through the 56 years that we've been in business, we sold maybe 300 or 400 units. So we really build all our projects for our own portfolio. So when I say we build, buy, and manage, we actually come in, we build the apartment project, we manage it, and we hold it for long term. So we're a little different. You see a lot of people build developments, build an apartment building, when they're done with it, they sell it. We don't do any of that. You can see on the map there all the states that we're working in. Currently in Illinois, we are building a project in Gurnee, which is 153 units, another project in Round Beach, 204 units, and we have a couple other projects throughout the region that are under contract right now. Right now, we are building approximately 2,000 units that we have going up as we speak. We can go to the next slide. If I do I do that?
Yeah, it should work.
Okay, great. So you see a building there, that's a building we have under construction in, called the Apartments in Newport Avenue, that's in Rhode Island. So, you know, that building is 142 units. If you go to the next slide, kind of see what we're talking about regarding the fit and finish of the building. So on the left there is a building in North Kingstown, Rhode Island. It's called Reynolds Farm. It's 5 45-unit buildings. It sits up against about 800 houses right behind it. We butt up right against them. 4-story elevator buildings. You can see the brick, the siding there, the AZAC trim. We use Trex decking. We may, fluctuate on black windows or black railings, but that's kind of the color palette and the material palette we use. On the right is a project in Monroeville, PA, right outside Pittsburgh, which is where we're headquartered. It's 93 units called Evergreen Apartments. And the bottom is another one in Pittsburgh called the Regency. It's 120 units, all 4-story elevated. As you can see, we have a theme regarding our color palette. The reason we use the brick, because we own them. We want to make sure that it lasts long term. We want to make sure that 50 years from now, the building still looks up to code. A lot of times you see stuff, and over time they start to fall apart. we started doing the brick buildings about 25 years ago, and they look great. I would implore you, if we proceed here, you can talk to any town you've been to. We're happy to share our references. The local ones you can talk to out of state, anybody. We've been denied. We stand by our buildings. We're proud of them. I don't know what's going on here now.
Sorry, we lost it again.
Oh, that's okay. I just want to make sure I didn't do something.
No.
I don't want to be at fault here. Well, the next slide, we get to it, I'll show it to you. So, when we finish these buildings, we design them to a condo level of finish. So all the units have quartz countertops. We use either dark cabinets or white cabinetry, stainless steel appliances. Every unit has a washer and dryer inside of it. Every unit has walk-in closets, whether it's one bedroom or two bedroom. If it's two bedroom, it also has walk-in closets and a master suite. You can see we have these large windows, very large balconies, all of which are oversized as far as the windows go, the balconies go. See a lot of buildings where they're inset. We will do that in certain buildings, but we still make them very large. And the reason we do this, people really enjoy their outdoor space. We don't like to build a building that's just a little tacked on balcony. We kind of set ourselves apart by building them oversized in the sense that people have an outdoor space and they get all the natural light. So that's something that we like to do. Landscaping, look at those pictures over there, are a big deal for us. Since we own the buildings, maintain them, we spend probably a little too much time going to them and making sure everything is done. So in order to keep that in line, we run everything out of Pittsburgh. We also have a landscaping company that runs out of Pittsburgh and then contracts with all our landscapers throughout the country to make sure that we're getting the kind of quality that we want. All the people that work on these buildings are AR building staff. So, we have our management of Pittsburgh. We have on-site leasing. We have on-site managers, maintenance, all that kind of stuff. So, being vertically integrated, we tend to have control over the buildings that we're doing. I spend a lot of time traveling around the country to make sure that everything is, working smoothly. We're doing that. So everything comes back to us, and we know that, we don't have any issues that are, building up on our sites. Okay.
You're on
Thank
that
you.
screen.
So there you go. That's kind of the interior. So on the top left, that's a community room
That one's empty.
in a building that we have. I showed you in Pittsburgh.
Okay.
On the right, you see the fitness center that we have in every single building. So if we have one large building, like I showed earlier, there's 142 units. That one is a fitness center and a community space on the inside. This one, I think we're going to have our own standalone community building with a pool. We're going to show that it's just a concept. It's not a final product or anything like that. And you can see the fit and the finish on the bottom of the interiors. Again, we have dark cabinets, the large windows, stainless steel appliances. Really, it's a condo finish. We're on a PDF here.
Is it not moving?
Okay, there you go. There's the site. Probably best, if you can see there on the right where we're located. We're looking at all these right there on Division Drive. Large site that's has not been developed. Right below us here, if you're looking at the map, there's the senior living center and the neighborhood to the left.
You talk about developing the whole undeveloped area or just that small portion?
We're talking about this area right here, which I think we're using 8 acres, 6.5 acres. So again, this isn't a final anything. 1 acre is going to be stormwater management. And that kind of will, you're going to have that anywhere. So it's above ground stormwater management in the sense that we capture all the water on site. And then with 351 unit buildings. So this is just kind of a test fit. They work out that way, maybe something different, but as we have it here, it's 351 unit buildings, and we're parked at 1.5 parking spots per unit. So what that really means is these buildings are all either studio, 1 bedrooms, or 2 bedrooms. We don't build 3 bedrooms unless we're in a place where we have to build 3 bedrooms or we're doing like a townhouse community. We find that 1 and 2 bedrooms works for us. We don't get crowded with that, parking works. We don't tend to be a community because we do 1 and 2 bedrooms that has really a lot of families living in long term, maybe people in transition, moving to another place. These really are the demographic profiles, single people or couples. It really runs the gamut from people that want their first place to people who want to downsize. Because we make a luxury community, it really does appeal to everybody. The amenities that we have tend to hit everybody who wants to live in a place like that. We like the location. We're near all the retail you would have locally. We think it works within the community as far as the way we had it cited is not right on the houses. And we like that we're right near the Aldi's and everything you would have, right near the highways. It's a really good location for this. We've done multiple projects like this where we are in a commercial center. We've done office parks, commercial rezones, things like that. And the good thing about doing something like that is the uses that are normally allowed on that site prior to showing up are ones that produce more traffic. You should have more of an impact on there than what what apartments do. Whenever we go through that process and do a traffic study, we always find that our numbers are lower than what would be there currently. We'll talk to Danielle that we have to go through, I think we're doing a text amendment or rezoning of the property. We're still kind of talking about what we have to do in order to make this work. But really what we wanted to do is just get everybody's feedback, introduce the project, and go from there. So happy to discuss, happy to hear any thoughts, and thank you for having us.
Thank you, Jason. Any board members have questions?
Can we see the site plan? One more. Yeah, that.
So it's not a complete corner location, it doesn't incorporate the corner of division park.
Yeah, no, it's, I would say there's an acre of ground in front of it, so we're not on the corner, we're kind of mid-block there on Division Drive.
What is this currently zoned? M1, B1.
What's the land use plan showing us?
Residential flex.
Residential flex, yeah. Residential flex.
Residential flex.
Yeah.
Almost flex.
I think this is a great, graduation from, you got the residential on the one side and you got commercial on the other. This is what goes there. It's a great transition. This is what you're taught, the city regional planning classes. So, I like it.
I'm a little concerned with the height, but the way you've got the building situated, kind of affects that.
Yeah, I would say that the ways that the buildings are designed is to kind of not make them look as tall as they are. We have the gable ends there, the hip roofs, that kind of brings that height down. When you look at that building, and I can't speak to the final heights of the other buildings around in the commercial center, it's not out of scale. You step back from it, they kind of fit in, so.
Yeah, I think the thing that concerns me is that you've got single family houses behind another two-story, the same type of roof. Yeah, I guess I'd probably have to go out and take a look and see what the tree line looks like.
Yeah.
There's a light line that goes through there. I know that's pretty heavily wooded.
It's a significant trail.
Yeah.
I wouldn't check, I had to say it off, I would check, it's a pretty significant trail.
Yeah, I'm pretty light on that path.
It was the height of Prairie Valley.
I believe 35 or 40. I don't know that they had to have a zoning variation. But I can check on that and let you
I would say I'd like to see it 3-story. Are the apartments market rate rent?
Yeah, they're all market rate apartments.
It's nice to see brick. And then the upper portion of the siding, is that a chain party or a smart crown or?
It's a heavy vinyl.
Okay.
What calls the apartment, the senior apartments on?
She's got ongoing on.
Yeah.
Those are 3-story.
That's 3-story too,
Yeah, I don't know what their overall, the story to height ratio sometimes is a little different. Our buildings, if you average from normally what happens, you average them from the eave to peak, like 42.5 feet is what it tops out at. So I don't know what their height is. They may have 3 stories, they may be taller, they may be shorter, I can't say.
So like you're measuring it to the
Yeah, the midway point.
Are these common entry doorways or are they individual doors? I can't think.
Yeah, so, what you'll see on the first floor is you see some balconies, and you see some patios, and then there's a common entry in the front and would be in the back of the buildings. And then when you go in, you enter your unit individually within the building. So there are long corridors with a elevator in the middle. The reason we do them the 4 stories is to get the elevator, it makes more sense, and actually we create more green space by get the units, and also, you can still make it green. Again, you can add more to it, but we would be proposing here is to not touch as much of the tree line as possible. We see the same value in that. We'll make it cover everything more.
Is there commonality of ownership with the property to Southview?
Not for us, no.
I mean, do you know if current owner?
I don't know, I can't answer that. No.
Because
I don't think so.
What I would hate to see is having a residential district and then still having the manufacturing district right next to it.
Yeah, because you don't have any real border.
There's no,
between
there's no buffer.
the south end border, there's kind of buffer, so you can technically put manufacturing right up.
Yeah, we run into that regarding the uses and what could go on, and I don't have, it's a pretty small piece of property. From an ownership perspective, I don't have a concern over it. I mean, from a planning perspective, it may be a different viewpoint.
Well, I think our ordinance was required to put buffer yard.
Oh, really? Okay. Okay, well, that's where we're here.
Do you do 3-story buildings? Are they all 4-story buildings?
They're all 4-story.
They're all 4-story.
Efficiency of getting the elevator.
Yeah.
Other units have elevators.
Well, I'm just saying.
Andy might have been part of it, but we did look at this in a transit-oriented development to promote walkability and easy access to 47 and I-88, so that's good.
Comments by board members and questions?
Are the ends stairwells or those apartments?
So if you, that's not my screen, but it's on that one. You can see 2 white doors on each side. That's a stairwell, and there are stairwells and then apartments at the end. So if you imagine you've got a stairwell, you've got the entrance in the middle, and then where those white doors are, you walk in and there's a stairwell that goes up, and then there's apartments on the ends, there's units there.
Would you be averse to losing the top unit on each end?
It's our best unit. That's our best unit. We can talk about all that. Yeah, no, I
At
understand.
least the bulk on the end.
Yeah, I mean, we
At
can.
least on the one side with the
Yeah.
same family. So.
Well, we can, no, we can look at all this stuff. Yeah. We can look at this.
I think what you're trying to get today is it is not a permitted use on that property.
Yeah.
And so you're trying to get consensus from the board on whether the use is palatable to the village board for you to proceed.
Yeah, we like to have these meetings. And the reason we like to have these meetings is to hear, all this. What do you guys think? And then for the board, of course, this is not a vote. There's nothing else that's going on to it. This is just a concept, like hey, if you guys like it, you think it's a good use, we're happy to proceed. If somebody said we don't want any of this, this is not what we want our community, then there's be a pretty good understanding of what. I don't feel like that's what I'm hearing.
I'm excited about this.
Yeah.
I mean, use, because I think it's an area that we need that kind of housing. And like I said, I think it's a wonderful transition as far as where it's located.
Great.
Yeah, some of the feedback that we've received over the years has been when children grow up, go to college, move out of the house, come back, there's not a lot of options for them. And this, I think, provides some options for a kid that's graduated college, coming back, working in the area, living in the area, staying close to home.
Yeah, great. That's always good.
I think the amenities that we provide are essential. We don't have any pool communities besides buildings that are incorporated into the neighborhood community, but it's not a rental product. The other things that I see that are usually in a setting like that is outdoor grill space, outdoor common space,
Yeah.
where residents are not feeling the need to put a grill on their balcony,
Yeah.
but there's something set up within the property. So I don't know if that's something that you all
Yeah,
do.
we do offer that. We don't allow grills on the decks because we don't want anybody to cause a fire. But yeah, no, we do provide that space. And it really comes down to whether there's an area by itself or right by the community building, whatever it may be. But yeah, we definitely do that. Yes.
A comment we received from another project in town, residential next to an apartment building, senior housing, was the sight lines from the windows towards the backyards. And I guess that's where I was going with, what are the end units? And maybe, Jamie, that's what you were thinking too, with the residential so close. I think the concern is those houses back there, if you look at the map, one of them had a pool. And I think that maybe those residents in another neighborhood, their concern was that people may be looking out the window just so that the sight lines aren't into the backyards. And maybe the trees are high enough, maybe maybe that's not even an issue, but.
Yeah, and you know what we can do, and is we've done sections to kind of show what the height is.
Yeah.
We get the height of the trees, the height of the building. You know, the end unit decks on this building, they actually don't shoot out to the neighbors. They're looking at each other.
Yeah.
We could do that and accommodate that, but we would definitely do section and show you, our height, that height, and how it affects it.
Any other feedback? It sounds like, correct me if I'm wrong, but it is a amenable use on that property, that it's a good transition next to a commercial area, next to a senior living center, and then transition into a single family. It also has townhomes next to it. So it is a use that we need in the village.
Great.
So thank you for coming.
Okay, great. We'll be back then.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you, Jason.
Have a great evening.
Appreciate it.
Yourselves. Okay, bye.
We lost the screen.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, I gotta get it.
Okay, up next, we have Chief Roberts.
Good evening. I appreciate the opportunity to present the results of our space needs study that was commissioned back in August of 2023. Just to give the board a little bit of background, the building that we're in right now is approaching 32 years. In October 1992, this building was built. So there hasn't been much change that's occurred other than some fresh painting, some furniture and carpeting. The existing makeup of the facility is built more towards a residential style construction versus a commercial construction, residential AC versus air handler system. So we're looking at some of the challenges that have occurred over the moving forward for the police department. January of 2023, the village administration and finance department moved down the block, opened up the rest of this building for the police department. In April, we took over the other half of the building, and then this past August, July and August, we came to the board looking for a space needs study. And tonight I'd like to
Williams,
come on, come forward. I got Mark Williams and Mark Rhodes, and then I'll also take it from here to talk about the results of the space needs study.
Disconnect them all. Just disconnect them all and reconnect them.
Thank you, glad to be back.
So it stopped.
Now 21 years, so I've had the privilege
Hit
of
all.
coming here and talking about your police facility. So we're
Give it a few
always
seconds.
ready, always willing, always excited to do
Do all.
what we can to assist
And then
in
Mayor.
future growth. Like Mark Bushhouse from Williams, and as the chief said, we've been working diligently to look at options. I just want to thank the police department administrator and the mayor for all coming in, rolling sleeves up, and really wrestling with some tough questions here of scope and budget, looking at various options of what can be afforded and what is needed. So we did a space programming review to really look at what the needs could be for your department for the next 10 to 20 years. Evaluated that in light of current standards and requirements. Looked at the existing building, explored some ideas, and with Frederick Quinn, he's here from Frederick Quinn to, they did the cost estimating to help us look at what these budgets could be, and then wrestled our way through it. So maybe start going through some slides here. So the chief, 10 minutes, and now I'm like a liar, but we'll do the best we can.
Perfect. We've been waiting.
Well, this is a chart of all the meetings we've had. Please don't try to absorb all this, but keep going here. So we had meetings and work through things. And then we went through, again, we now analyzed staffing, talked about where is staffing now, where do you think it could go in the next 20 years? So looking at growth and changes of your community. Again, these are decisions on staffing you'll make as you choose to make them, but just looking ahead at possibilities of growth. Employees could go from 25 to maybe 30, 31 the next 10 to 20 years, depending on how the village expands. And excited to see some apartments, by the way. Keep going. And then, of course, we look at vehicles. How many vehicles do you have? Where do they all fit? We have enough parking outside, and we run that full analysis there. And we decided not to really have any parking inside because the budget is what budgets are. In the space programming, again, we did a review of that. We could come up with quite a range of size. And, recognizing budget limitations, we did some very extended conversations repeatedly about what is really necessary over the longer term, but then what is really required and needed in the shorter term of what could we do now. So we looked at facility sizes of anywhere from 14 to 35,000, a target just under 30, and looking at a final size of 13. However, you have a building already of some size here, so we take that out and we're adding what, 5,800?
That's the bottom.
That's the bottom there. So we're looking at a first step of about 5,800 square feet or so. Next. So here's the diagram of the site, and I'm going to turn over to Mark Brody because he's done the heavy lifting on the concept, working with the police, and I'll get out of the way and cheer this on.
So, yes, I want to make it clear that on the original programming, we went through the process as if we did space needs of everything you would need. But working together, we realized you do have a budget sort of in mind, so we didn't really go down that avenue, if you will. We will show you the 5 options we've come up with, and one of them is, I think it's number 3, is sort of the everything option, but the final one is sort of what fits within the budget. But if you start with your existing site, obviously you know where you're sitting here around the northwest corner there. It's working on it. You guys have to do it.
Hang on a second.
No, I'm just trying to make it
Oh,
slide down. Oh, there you go. All right, so, again, proposed site plan. So basically, you're in sort of a symmetrical building with, the boardroom here, the entry, and if you're looking in the lower left corner, you see sort of a perpendicular roof. That's kind of the general gist of it, is adding on something to the building. Any of these options we're going to show you, but it's something that fits contextually. We're not trying to make a new statement out of it, but we want something that fits in with the style of the building. Now, what you see is the current plan. I know it was Village Hall until a certain point, so obviously you have your entry, which is sort of recessed in the building under a roof. We're sitting in the community boardroom in the middle. Left side was renovated or turned back over to police, and the right side, which is also police. So basically, they're using the whole facility. Upper right corner of that plan, for those of you who haven't been there, that was a Sally Port back in the early 90s, and now it's at the investigations and detectives area. Lower middle section, that's the detention area that you have today. A couple offices around front, and then you do have to kind of cut through the lobby to get from the left to the right side of the building. So that's the way it stands now. It's just under 8,000 square feet. So as Mark mentioned, and we programmed, you needed 13,200 to take that out, and that's where we came up with around 5,800 square feet. Just a couple of aerial perspectives and ground levels of what it looks like pretty much today. So what did we do? We did some options. So we did a space needs, and then we came up with a conceptual option. Then we met again. We refined the space needs. We did this process numerous times. So what we're going to do is we're just going to kind of summarize each one here. So in this first scheme here, the white is no change. The yellow is kind of a new front entry lobby, and it would come out from your building to give it a little more of an inviting appearance. To the right side, this was the gray part is basically a Sally Port equipment storage, and the lower right side is basically the thank you, evidence. So you can see the construction cost was like $2.167 million, and so that is basically, say, bricks and mortar. There's not much site work on this project, so but it's building and site work. The total cost is about $2.5 million. So it certainly fits within the budget we've been talking. I'm not sure it achieves everything. So that was option one. Some views of it. So again, pretty much the building stays the same. On the right side of the upper left photo, you see the addition. There would again, would have a gable roof, similar brick siding, etc. A couple of perspective views there. Number two, same addition on the right with the evidence and the detention, but then we pretty much remodeled everything. That's why everything's colored. So, the left side, the light blue, that's really sort of police administration. The yellow components are kind of the public areas or the shared spaces. So you've got some locker rooms in there. We've got the public entry. Got renovated bathrooms here and whatnot. The pink area is records and so on. And so you can see in that one on the far right, we renovated the right-hand side and put in 2 new jail cells as well as an interview room and a holding cell and a booking room. So that one, we were about under $4.9 million as a project. We were 5.5. So at that point, we were here. We were probably getting a little more than we needed to be at. So we kind of went back to the drawing board again. And this is the one that we did almost as a comparison. The original space needs, this would have probably lasted you another 20 to 30 years. I don't say it would last like 75 or 100, but basically this is sort of the first program. And as you can see, we keep the middle building. Everything's heavily remodeled. On the right side, we have an addition, and the left side, we have a much larger addition. So again, the colors are patrol. So again, the first go around with patrol, there were many more spaces that are in the final proposed plan. Same thing with the investigations. You're at $8.8 million for hard cost, and you're a shade under $10 million. So that was sort of the everything option, just as a place to kind of always check back. So that's what it looked like. And we keep the building in the middle, and we would put a couple of symmetrical wings on the left or right side. The left side, obviously, being a little bit longer, but it would give it some character. Then we decided to hone it in, and we were getting very close with option 4 and working with the chief and the village manager, really kind of circle back to that program and said, what do we absolutely have to last us for a while here? So the focus was really, again, on the right-hand addition, the detention and the evidence storage. We still did on the right side, keep the renovated jail cells and all that. And basically the left side, on the far left, added a few locker, toilet rooms, changing areas, small kitchenette, renovated the blue area with a couple of offices and some open workstations, and then turned the room we're sitting into, we kept that one as the community room. Previous versions, we had that as a training room, but since you're not getting the village hall right away, we realized this place needed to be safe. So this would pretty much remain unchanged. At that one, we were getting closer. We were at $3.8 million. Total project cost $4.194. Our instructions were we've got to get it under 4. So we had one more meeting, and I think we're there tonight. So this is what we're calling kind of concept design option 5, or it's the consensus option, meaning it's the one everybody agrees on. One thing I want to let you know is, it's not completely vetted out. I mean, it's pretty close. We're showing walls and whatnot, so Fred and his team can estimate it. But if the project moves forward, our first step is schematic design through the design phases. So this is certainly an option, but we're basically trying to show is here's the square footage. Again, the right side we have an addition, the left side we renovate. There's a couple of alternate bids on there. And basically this sort of a, hang on. Click too quickly. There's kind of a 3/4 bird's eye view looking down into it. So again, you've got a nice addition that'll fit the right side and blend in with the character. And the addition out the front, we would love to do. That does not fit within the $4 million budget. We could design this as an alternate bid. We could show it as future. Tonight we want to show you what it would look like with it on there, but that's basically it. And then I think the other alternates are, there's 3 on the far left. You're seeing those combined. They're private shower toilet rooms, so there's no more public showering. It's a private, like a hotel room. One of those would be an alternate bid, and Fred, help me out, what's the third alternate? Was it? Okay, good. So, again, perspective views of it. I think here's the thing everybody really wants to see. So this is a summarized page, which you really can't read. So the bottom line is, the building and site work construction costs about $3.6 million, and total project costs just a shade under $4 million. And so that's a summary broken up there. Fred, is there anything you want to talk? Do you want to go over estimate?
Pretty much it's, we take on a lease.
Yeah, come out there. Enjoy the microphone, Fred.
Okay, basically we work with, we've built many police stations and the buildings of this facility, so we kind of, in the process, use those numbers to kind of get an idea where things are running. We also did multiple takeoffs of materials and so forth to come up with a realistic budget. And in this budget, the thing is, as Mark mentioned, there's one bathroom that's a separate alternate, which is listed down there, and that front entryway, expanding the front entryway, would also have to be an alternate because it won't fit within the $4 million budget set aside. Also, the exterior of the building, we're not really doing much to the exterior, so it's not revamping it, it's maybe cleaning it up a little bit, maybe a paint job, something like that, but nothing major there. So the majority of the work is all intensive inside remodeling as well as the addition.
Thank you. More questions?
Do we need a staff report that, are we booking people here at?
We do, so I think it's important, and I appreciate the board took the opportunity to provide us with a fence. But right now, in any case, I'm sorry,
Thank you.
I think it's best practice to have a sally port, and it's for a couple of reasons. One, if we take a prisoner outside of the squad car, we'd love to have a clean surface, not having any rain or snow on it. But an officer's got a prisoner and they're walking alongside that prisoner in our current conditions, and they slip or trip on the ice, they could potentially bring that prisoner down who's got their hands behind their back. They can't protect themselves, the officer can't protect the fall of the injury to either one of them. Most likely, fortunately, the natural instinct is to protect your hands out in front, where a prisoner doesn't have that. It's also, an opportunity for us to, if we want to secure a car for searching or for evidence, we can utilize it as a temporary basis. It's just a safer means for unloading and loading prisoners, because once they know they're coming into a facility or leaving the facility in the county, the freedom's taken away. So yes, the cell report is extremely important for us. And I appreciate it. I think both Mark and Fred have talked about it, and just for me, this is a brand new arena where I've never been involved in this process. I've been grateful in learning from Scott and from the experts that are with us tonight. These are just concept plans. It's not exactly how it's going to flow. There's still some operational flow that has to occur, but the operational design is in place. That those would come at a later stage to make sure that we're not bringing prisoners in front of the office space or records or anything else to make it security. So as well as the phones that they have access to certain areas, so.
Thanks, Chief. Any other questions?
I appreciate you walking through all the different designs and the thought process. It really helps to understand where the changes came from. I do like the final option plan. I think that's a good compromise. I think it's important to have that booking room close by, just from the information I've gathered on safety and liability and what's necessary. I do like the idea of keeping the multi-purpose training room kind of available to the community, boardroom if we need to.
Remember, this project started with a need for the saddle horse and evidence storage. So it started with that build out and then what we asked chief and the officers to do, and the whole department to do, is to live with the vacancy and then decide how best it would be to revamp the property, which they have done now. They've been in the property for over a year without admin and finance in the building. So, and then working with the architects to figure out the best use for the property, but still getting the things that we need long-term. So my understanding is the showers, the lockers, storage, the multi-purpose training room, the salad board, and storage, getting it all here under one roof were the key components. But then there was some necessity that needed to be done in tackling our jail cells that we have today. So the revamp of those jail cells need to be revamped, and then having separate functionality in the building for the staff that we have today, and then also planning for the future. So accommodating what we think would be a growth potential. So correct me if I'm wrong, is somewhere around growth potential of being able to live with this building to the residential capacity of roughly 20,000 people.
Are you changing the jail cells? Or are you just?
Not in the final.
Okay.
I can't see the thing.
Option, it was colored, but I didn't.
Well, option 4 we did, and not changing got us to that under that $4 million number. So I think we all agree it would be nice to do, but we're also trying to figure out ways. And again, once the project gets more real, we can go back and explore everything and work with Fred and his team and see if we can do a little bit of finagling. But that was kind of what we needed to do to get it at the budget.
So do our current jail cells, will they need to be, if we're not changing them that much, are we going to make sure they're up to ADA code and such?
There's a state statute that we have
Yeah.
to follow, so we'll make sure that it does. It currently does, it needs to be freshened up. New fixtures, new bedding, and the rest of it, obviously will fall within the requirements today.
Okay, I didn't know if there's any great hurdle physically, keeping that, to bring those areas up to current code.
Again, we believe this project will have some grandfathering capabilities.
Okay, that's.
So are those cells handicap accessible? I don't think they are. And they still won't be when we don't change them. So that's something that they can remain, again, for the state of Illinois, if you spend less than 50% of the replacement cost of a building, you can grandfather in aspects that you're not remodeling.
That's what I was.
Right. So we believe we're likely within that realm. In fact, we pretty much know we're certainly within that realm. And
That's.
here we are.
We're trying not to move the doors and the big heavy.
Yeah, big expensive things. there.
Right,
But they're not non-ligature type of fixtures, which that would change.
Right.
Sure. Yeah. But the walls.
Are they usable cells? Yes, they are.
Right, okay.
Does the cost estimate include furniture or fixtures for the evidence storage area?
Well, certainly we have a really expanded storage for evidence than what you have now. As far as, if you have some unusual larger items or a murder case that can take a lot of square footage and you have to hold it forever, whether that fits in there or not, it depends on the case and what items you end up with. that certainly has a lot of capacity to it, and I think you're gonna be fine for a long time. We can never say for certain.
But he's asking if there's rolling shelves.
Oh, rolling.
Got rolling shelves in there.
I think right now they're fixed shelves, but the good news is if you end up with more evidence at some point, you can shift to rolling shelves and increase its capacity.
Is that included in your cost estimate, what we see here?
Not the rolling shelves, just fixed shelves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was.
Yeah, that's the difference between the construction cost and the total. That's pictures and.
Trustee Bonner, okay?
Yeah, what's up? A lot to take in here. Costs, that also include all the security features, key card access to doors, camera systems, things like that, that will need to be installed.
necessary for the building.
Yeah, so that's all, that is included.
In the budget also, we threw an escalation of 25 as well.
That's all for 20.
Escalation bid on 25, and yes, there's some security systems that would be required. Again, there's always limits to, how much are you going to do, but we think there's a reasonable amount for the size of the building.
And there's contingencies in there too. Yeah.
It is a bit of contingency, right?
10%.
I think layout's nice, the locker room with the individual showers is that's huge for the officers. I think that's something really nice for them. Chief, thank you for going from your 75 car Sally part that you originally wanted to. So I appreciate that. That was, I don't even think we have 75 cars out there. And then I struggle with the jail cell issue though. I mean, I really would like to, we were fixing everything else in here, and the jail cells are somewhat of an important feature of a police department. So that's kind of a concern I have with this overall, this last one that fits. But I do like how a lot of these places have their individual offices and rooms, different areas. It's also important for just the functionality of everybody and everything. The customer service area that you have on this last one, what's that?
Records.
Oh, records, okay. And that's, that makes more sense.
Well, and I'll be honest, records at this one is not ideal because the storage is across the hall because there's only so much existing square foot. So in the option 4, the pink stretched across because we're doing the new jail cell layout. So bottom line, you're $200,000 apart between option 4 and 5, and I'm hoping we can.
And again, this is a conceptual stage. We're just trying to, I guess, not build false expectations of what $4 million will buy. We'll certainly work hard with the construction and the design and the staff to maximize your dollar to get everything. And if we're able to remodel those cells within that, whatever dollar amount you set for us, and we're all over that. But we just want to say, well, this is kind of how it looks right now.
And this the bond out, chief, that's on the side here, that's going to empty out off to the side, the roadway side here, but outside of it's not within the fenced-in area, correct?
Correct, it will not be.
That's going to be.
We're going to need to do some work if we put it in the Shinano. We'll have to relocate some of those little sections of the fence.
Yeah, okay, all right. Oh, I mean, first glance.
So are you, I guess, Trustee Ronnie, are you more of a proponent of the, I don't know what number it is, but the one with the 4.2 roughly on it, has a dollar amount, the last one doesn't have a dollar?
I mean, I'm all in for the 9.7.
I like this guy.
But responsible me says, yeah, I mean, I would like to spend a little bit more time over looking at some of these things, but I think at the end of the day, some of the main things I think that are important, and Chief, please chime in, but I think as we look at the locker rooms for staff, for the officers, I think having their own lockers, their own areas, their own showers, that's such a thing that, such a little thing, but it means so much to officers. You know, you're outside there in a 100-degree day, and you come in and take a nice cool shower and put on some clean clothes or a clean uniform. I mean, that's priceless. So I think that's an important, I would not want to see that go away. I agree with you on the Sally Port. I think that there's, before Safety Act took over, there was questions about how often we're really going to be transporting people, how often we're maintaining them within the jail itself, things like that. Now we're a year into it, and we're noticing that actually arresting a little bit more people, we're just not holding them, but we're actually transporting more people back and forth. It's just because there's no repercussions anymore. So they go out, they get arrested, they come back, they sign out, they go back. And, my original, I guess, adherence to having a Sally Port is gone now. I think a Sally Port is needed for this police department and for you guys. There's a lot of safety issues with that. So I concur with you with having a Sally Port, and I think the size fits. I think it's a good size to it as well. So I think the Sally Port, the locker room are huge, and then the booking area is just, it's an important. I encourage anyone to ask for a tour of that booking area back there. And to put money into this building, in my opinion, to put the money into this building and skip that is kind of doing everybody a disservice. So I would like to really try to figure out a way to upgrade that booking, make it an easier area for people to come in and go out, but at least have it.
And we'll look to save any costs, like Fred and I were chatting, in the paint portion, we're showing concrete block walls. Maybe we can switch those to drywall. It's really just that, sort of save a few dollars there. That front entry that comes out, that's shown as like brick and block. Maybe it's brick with studs. I mean, this building is kind of built like a house. So it's basically a wood frame building with a little bit of brick. So we'll look at little details and see what other little things can we tighten up to try to push more to. I mean, option 4, I think you're right, probably prefer option 2.
I would like to see if we can get those, jail cells, 88 time, instead of relying on the grandfather debt. If we're doing all of this work, why not?
Exactly.
So if we can save in some areas, and I understand the construction makes it expensive, but yeah.
One other thing is, I would like to see the outside spruced up a little bit too. Kind of add on to this building and not do anything to the outside of it. It's kind of also concerning to me that we're spending all this money on the inside and.
Looks like 1984.
Yeah, and I'm surprised you said 92. I kind of whispered, I'm like, I thought it was 62. So I would like to try to figure out some ways that we can incorporate all these needs, maybe skip a couple wants or something like that. But overall, I think decent.
Yeah, just at the pump out area, we're just seeing, as soon as you walk in, there's no soft interview in this carpet. So we have to bring them into this big room to do an interview for a non-offender or even an offender, or we have to take them into a conference or something else, which is not conducive, it's not the best practice. So that's why the additional opportunity to put soft interview rooms up front would be great. And, people will feel comfortable they're not in custody, they can come in and talk about, an incident that took place, or, they want to, talk about a domestic situation, or, so it's huge for us to have soft interview rooms. So you're not seeing many super wants in here. If you went to the almost the $9 million, that was if we went all in. We really, Scott and myself, we were really extremely conservative here, just to, we want to be here long term. We want to make sure that it's functional, operational, and we're not going to run into being segregated from one side of the building to the other. So I appreciate it's been a long time overcome, in the market. Like I said, 21 years since the last time we presented the original design that was to go across the street for the police department. So.
What would a new building with our needs cost?
Great question, because we went through this exercise.
It was a lot more.
Yeah.
20.
It's $500 to $600 square foot.
Yeah, so, you said 10, if you're talking closer to 20, yeah, I think you are. Oddly enough, your building back in 2007 was $21 million all in, but it was huge. But yeah, that was, when everything was half price. Yeah.
What kind of population are we talking about this being able to accommodate?
Population is a good gauge, but really we looked at staffing numbers that might be generated in years ahead. So when we're at 25 now, looking at 30 to 31 people in the years to come, that really tells us spaces that we need to make that operate. how that responds to population. Well, again, you ask any police department, how does population exactly correlate to the department size? Well, there are factors. What's our call volume? What kind of calls do we have? How spread out is our community? How do we get enough patrols out there? You could take over any moment now. I'm talking your job. But so we really work with them to talk through the growth and change that that Sugar Grove is looking at, and then with that, work with the department on that staffing side, and that really helps us.
Majority of the time, the officers should be out on the street, so it's really great having your detectives, your fire staff. If we have school resource officer, we have any, social workers to, community service officers, those are all coming inside. But again, you also have to have space to accommodate lockers. Everyone needs a locker. So you just can't build for today's locker number than how are we going to do with the next, 5 fires that got added on in the 10 years. So we got to make sure we have enough space for our lockers for both the males and the females.
Any additional questions? I need some time to look at Aaron. I'm sure there will be more, but thank you for your presentation. Did you want to add anything?
Just next steps would be that we'll come back with a discussion item to seek for the contract for the design, and then also for to get a budget for us to move forward with. So that'll be to get feedback on that here at a future meeting. That'll be the next step.
Thank you. Thank you all for coming.
Thank you. Have a good time. Thanks, everybody.
Appreciate it. Up next, I have airport report. Tony Special.
No report,
Thank you, Tony.
next week.
Okay. Public comment on items scheduled for action this evening under consent agenda, the approval of the minutes of May 21st, 2024, those 14. Item B, approval of vouchers. Item C, a resolution approving agreement with Ryder for head meeting. Item D, a resolution approving agreement with Emily Simpson from Valley Maintenance Program. Item E, a resolution purchasing additional Silverado 3500 HD utility truck. Under general business, we have item A, ordinance approving zoning variation for 442 Morton Circle. Item B, a resolution authorizing an agreement with France Industries LLC for communication services. Item C, a resolution approval of employment agreement community development director. Those are the items on tonight's agenda that are up for a vote. And we do have a list of names that are registered for public comment. So
I think a few people signed up that weren't necessary for public comment, but we're here for one of the items on the agenda. Pete, I believe that is the case for you. Perry, you said general, so it wasn't for the agenda. And then, I'm sorry, I can't read the first name, but Ellis didn't have, last name Ellis didn't have any. Yeah.
I'm just here to watch.
Okay, excellent. And then the name that I cannot read, I'm sorry, it looks like it starts with an M.
Just here to watch.
Okay, excellent. And then we've also got Nicole Pryor here from Food Pantry. So it looks like unless there's somebody that didn't sign up that wants to talk about an item that's up for agenda.
Anyone else?
I didn't sign up, but if you have questions regarding what we're going to talk about, I would happily answer them. So I'm Sherry Breeders.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, and Sharon, we might have questions for you during that discussion item.
Sure. Thanks.
Any other public comment on items scheduled for action at this time? Hearing none, I will close that portion. Up next, consent agenda. Any requests to remove an item?
Item C.
Item C. Any others? Okay. So for the record, you were present at the start of the meeting at 6 o'clock. Thank you. Any other items under consent agenda? No, hearing none. Can I get a motion to approve the consent agenda as previously stated with the exception of item C?
So
Thank you. First, trustee Karen, second on trustee Bonnie. Roll call, please, Tracy.
Trustee Heron.
Aye.
Trustee Bonnie.
Aye.
Trustee Michaels.
Aye.
Trustee White.
Aye.
Trustee Lundy.
Aye. Motion passes. Item C, the resolution approving the agreement with Ryder for the hydrant painting. Sean. Trustee Michaels.
Brad, hydrants are we scheduling?
So we haven't developed the list 100% yet. We're just trying to get on a schedule for the year. So I can get you the list of that. We're going through the areas right now, inspecting them all.
All right. You know, most areas, it doesn't seem like we need them every 3 years, is it? Is that
It's 3 to 5, depends on how many we get done that year.
I'd like to stretch out towards 5. That's what, that help.
I feel like we talk about this every year in the past. It's critical to make sure we have time to inspect the hydrants and test them. And part of that is painting them and maintaining them so they last.
But you could send a crew out to make sure they're good without painting them.
You're absolutely right, but then you're visiting twice, you know, 'cause we do it every time. We grease the caps before we paint them and all that stuff. In the high traveled areas like the open roads where they get more salt on them, they get corroded, so we want to keep up with them. So that they're able to operate.
So it's not one particular area, it's.
We're not focusing on any particular subdivisions per se. Each year, we do typically do it a subdivision at a time, but then we'll do some open areas and some other areas like in ditch lines and stuff like that. Like the ones on Bliss Road require more attention than the ones in Winstone or Black Walnut, obviously, because all the road salt gets on. And same with, you know, Bliss and Galena. So.
So you could probably go a little lighter in the neighborhoods, more 5 years, but with the other
That's
ones.
typically what it ends up, yeah, it's depending on the salt and stuff like that.
This is
They keep it,
budgeted, right?
it's absolutely
Yeah, it's
budgeted.
budgeted. I think, I've been through some towns where the fire hydrants are peeling or cracked or discolored, and, I don't know, kind of makes a point that you don't care about your village a little bit when they start peeling and looking nasty, and you know, they're bright red for a reason, right, in case of an emergency, those firefighters can find them in all kinds of different weather and whatnot, so I don't think I'm good with keeping it as is.
Any other discussion on this particular item? Okay. Can I get a motion to approve item C, the resolution approving the agreement required for highway paving? Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
And the first out, trustee White, second out, trustee Garrett. Roll call, please, Tracy.
Trustee White?
Aye.
Trustee Heron?
Aye.
Trustee Michaels?
Aye.
Trustee Lindy?
Aye.
Trustee Bonnie?
Aye.
Thank you, motion passes. Up next, under general business, item A, ordinance approving the zoning variation for 442 Point Circle. Danny.
So at the last meeting, you guys discussed the zoning variation requested by the Hatfields for a sport court. They're requesting a zoning variation to increase the permitted size of an accessory structure from 1,000 square feet to 6,048 square feet. Overall, there seem to be no major concerns with the zoning variation request. The topic, one item that was brought up for discussion was screening the sport court from view from the forest preserve. That was addressed with the plan commission. They did make their recommendation with the condition that the sports court be screened with landscape screening with that's it. The height of the landscape must be equivalent to the fence surrounding the sport court. The other item that was brought up was that the corner of the sport court on the site plan is shown to be in the easement on their property. Staff has added a condition to the ordinance that states that no part of the sport court may be built within the easements on their property. So staff is recommending that you approve the ordinance granting the zoning variation for 442 Brookings Circle.
Question, when you define it as a sports court, do you mean the court area or do you mean the retaining wall around it as well?
When we are referring to the sport court, we're referring to the whole thing. So the retaining wall, the surface area of the sport court itself.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Comments?
I'll make a motion to approve the ordinance.
Second.
Thank you. I have a first out, trustee Michaels, and a second out, trustee Garrett. Roll call, please, Tracy.
Trustee Michaels?
Aye.
Trustee Heron?
Aye.
Trustee White?
Aye.
Trustee Lindy?
Aye.
Trustee Bonnie?
Aye.
Motion passes, thank you. Item next, item B, resolution authorizing an agreement with Transit
Strategies LLC Communications Services. Scott?
Thank you. This item was discussed at the last village board meeting. This would be to extend for one more year with Grand Strategies. This is an item that is in budget. The monthly amount total would be reduced, and again, one of the numbers is different in the hourly rate with different employees that work at Grand Strategies. They've had a successful relationship with Meredith. There was some questions at the last meeting by the trustees about the work being done on invoices. I emailed that out shortly after the last meeting, and happy to answer any questions about the hearing.
Thank you, Scott. Questions or discussion?
Quick question, how much do you think this is, helping the village as far as would we have to, if we didn't have this, would we have to hire someone else to do the amount of work that they do anyway?
So what would happen, well, in large part, some of it just would go undone.
Okay.
And some of it, it's not things that are done necessarily that are mandated by state statute, that are done by the consultant, but it is an effort to communicate better with the public, to get, I believe, less news stories that we pick up when we have events. We would have less posts on Facebook. We would, I think our overall communication would go down, and then in some of our events, things that were built up like our visitor retention program, it would have suffered and taken longer to get going, and I think they left publicized as it happened. So work would fall on myself, economic development, and Tracy to try to still get the message out, and it would be done less, but we would still do what we needed to do, obviously. I don't think it necessitates a full-time employee. I think, as I mentioned last meeting, I think we're a great market, we're a great market for a consultant in this instance, like we are for a village attorney. I don't think we need to have a full-time person. There's some others like IT, where I think we successfully have a consulting agreement that is able to get the job done without having all the costs involved.
Great. I appreciate the information that goes out. I know I've gotten some feedback on the Arbor Day program at the library, and they helped promote, and it was fantastic feedback. Basically, I don't know whoever helped get that all going, but it was fantastic. So, all right.
Thank you, Ms. Lewis. Any other comments, questions?
Was parents involved with business retention because they're short office employee, or is that going to be ongoing? So she helped develop the program and build it. The questions, the way that we do it, and now that we have Michael's new person, we're supplementing the staff so that we can use the consultant less. But it's the creation of the programs and the design of them, and working with us to do those that was the integral part, and then she went to the first couple of retentions. And now we're going to have staff take over that role to reduce the number of consulting hours that we use. So that's instances where, and it's same with some Facebook posts, where grants would come up with a strategy or a calendar, some templates, and then we can then use them going forward. So we would reduce the usage of it, but it kind of helps jumpstart us and gets us the flow up and increase some of the professionalism and things we've done to help us to guide us in the beginning, and then now we can take over doing some of it. So hopefully the bills will go down steadily unless we're implementing the program as well.
I would have thought that would have been a function of the EDC, not grants. I did receive a Sugar Grove Township newsletter. If you consulted them to find out who's doing their newsletter, if there's opportunity to partner with them.
Haven't talked to the township about there specifically, but we are on our list that we're working on administration to bring back the newsletter. We're hoping to do it later on this year, the newsletter that needs to be here at the village. We can certainly talk with the township and see what they're doing and have an opportunity to work together. We are coterminous, especially if certain developments happen, so we are a little bit outside of them as well, or Big Rock a little bit, and may go farther north into Blackberry, but it's definitely something where I think there's a lot of information we can share alongside the township, so I'll definitely reach out.
Yeah, we were able to split the postage with the different taxing bodies, and that was the significant cost, so that was the whole purpose of using it.
I also noticed that newsletter had a welcome letter from the township supervisor from 2023.
Yeah, I don't know, I just saw it and brought it, so.
Yeah, I know what you mean. To me, it looks like they were just spending money they had. I think I saw the stuff in the past, from sent out stuff, and I was very pleased with how across the board it was. And I thought it helped immensely with getting what we as a village are trying to get across to our residents. So, quite frankly, I wasn't impressed when I got that.
Yeah. I just haven't seen the posts on Facebook with whatever we're doing. I check it out daily, and I know you sent those Facebook posts, but for whatever reason, I don't know why they're not being broadcast or why I'm like them.
We probably blocked you.
Yeah, right. Could be, but.
It feels like on weekdays, we do at least one a day. I even try
Yeah.
to get, when we're having our weekly meetings, I even try to say, hey, let's, like when we were celebrating our wrestling champion, I said, let's give her a full day. Because I know sometimes I want it to be on the top of the page, so we're doing them almost daily.
Yeah.
And that's a combined group effort from departments, and we're getting great info and feedback from the departments. I know she's working with Brad on some items to share information when it comes to, we're getting ready for some plowing things, talking about the mailbox program, things like that. So we want to get that information out and get ahead of it. And it's got us a little bit more organized as well. So I don't know why we're not popping up, but we definitely do post. If you just look at maybe the website instead of the feed on your phone, you'll see that all of ours just on our page, which posts we've done. But because I just use the website, I don't have it on my phone, but that's, I know we're in there daily posting because I'm approving the posts before they go out. So.
I didn't have it on my phone, and I do see it pop up quite frequently, so.
And we'll be boosting posts for Food Truck Friday and Group in the Grove to try to get that in more on the top of people's phones so they can see them on those. It's a real low cost because we're a small area. So then hopes to get, we've already had great turnouts, but we want to get even more people to those events like Food Truck Friday was. Last year was pretty great, so we're hoping to get even more people this year.
Any other questions, discussion? Okay, hearing none, can I get a motion to approve item B, the resolution as previously stated?
So, second.
First on trustee White, second on trustee Aaron. Roll call, Ms. Tracy.
Trustee White?
Aye.
Trustee Heron?
Aye.
Trustee Michaels?
No.
Trustee Lundy,
Aye.
Trustee Bonnie?
Aye.
Thank you, motion passes. 4-1. Up next, public comment. Additionally, on our agenda this evening, under discussion. I'm sorry, Ms. Conlon. Item C, the resolution approval for you. Sorry, Community Development Director. Scott.
I'm proud to recommend Dana Marion as the next Community Development Director for the Village of Sugar Grove. She's an excellent employee, been at the village for 5 years. She's presented many things to here at the village board level. She's worked internally with the Plan Commission and done an excellent job at that. She's a growing leader with us here at the village, and always, when possible, like to promote from within. And Dana's an excellent candidate. I've been happy to bring in from the outside as well. So, like to recommend her contract for approval.
Any questions for Scott? Any discussion? Hearing none, can I get a motion to approve item C, the resolution for approval of the employment agreement for the Community Development Director?
I'll make a motion.
Thank you.
I'll second.
First on trustee Heron and the second on trustee Bonnie. Roll call, please.
Trustee Heron?
Aye.
Trustee Bonnie?
Aye.
Trustee Michaels?
Aye.
Trustee White?
Aye.
Trustee Lundy.
Aye.
For the record, also vote aye. So the motion passes unanimously. Congratulations. Additionally, on our agenda this evening, we have a discussion for a zoning text amendment for food pantry use, but then any all items. So we have
We had Mary was on the top of the sign-up list. Oh, yeah.
Hi, just looking for some clarification and a better understanding of, obviously, the TIF proposal. I know there's a hearing scheduled for the 18th. I still don't really see full information to understand what you would be voting for or what the hearing should be focused on. But I do have a policy here from July 18th from the Economic Development Director, and it says, request for incentives that the village will consider the following types of incentives. Number one is tax increment financing, which is the TIF. It says interested companies should schedule a preliminary meeting with the Economic Development Department, and following the meeting, the company will submit a complete application to the Economic Development Department, and the following documents are required with the application, which is a letter requesting consideration of an incentive on company letterhead, information on new jobs and sales of, and property taxes to be created, information on the impact on public infrastructure such as utilities and roads, preliminary site plan and renderings, information on financial strength of the company, information on potential tenants. Also for TIF requests, it's asking for quotes from contractors for TIF eligible improvements to be reimbursed, and also pro forma providing the budget for the project. It shows the following list of potential reimbursable TIF eligible expenses. We pretty much all know that. Evaluation of the request, the village will evaluate each incentive request on the merits of the project. The factors include are not limited to projected new sales tax revenues, projected increased property tax revenues, jobs created by the project, capital investment for the project, redevelopment of high priority site, attraction of a desired anchor tenant, increase the village ability to secure other new business. Also says the village will utilize the but-for test, and this is the determination that the incentive is required in order for the project to be completed. Two examples include the incentive will close a funding gap with the project's budget, and that the village is competing with other communities that are offering incentives for the project. I'm not clear on that because there aren't any other communities that are competing for this TIF project, for the Brown project. We have border boundary agreements with every community except Elburn, and Elburn has stated that they do not want to participate in the TIF. And also they can't get the easements in order to approach the land over here included. So I wonder if we have any of this information on file, if I can receive that. Time's up. Thank you.
Thank you, Gary.
Yes.
Up next. Scott? Up next.
Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry, there's nobody else signed up, so I thought you were going to the process.
Sorry, I didn't know what you had. Any other public comment at this time? Hearing none. Going once, going twice, 3 times, we'll close public comment. Up next, to the zoning text amendment for the food pantry. Danny.
Okay, so the village is proposing a plan or text amendment to our zoning code to add food pantry as a permitted use and a permitted accessory use. The food pantry that currently serves the Sugar Grove community is located in EEI, and they're outgrowing their space. They need to relocate. They have found a space that the township owns that they'd like to move to. Through all of this, it's come to light that food pantry is not a permitted use in our code. So we are proposing to add it. The Planning Commission held a required public hearing on May 29th and had no concerns with the proposed text amendment. And they are recommending that the village board approve the proposed text amendment as stated. And we have members from the food pantry here that would like to give you a presentation to kind of explain the needs of this a little bit further.
Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Pete Wallers with Engineering Enterprises, representing Food Pantry. We also have Terry Frieders, the executive director here, and Nicole Pryor, one of the board members for the Food Pantry. So I just wanted to start off with a little bit of background. Some of you may know this, but in 2009, Melissa Taylor approached us at Engineering Enterprises looking for a temporary home for a new food pantry, which was the Sugar Grove Between Friends Food Pantry. That temporary location turned out to be permanent. It's been there for 15 years, but as Danny said, they're outgrowing their space and they're really in need of a new dedicated area for their work in the community. We were happy to host them, but I think, it's just a good time to move on. So the board, Sherry, myself, did some brainstorming, reached out to members of the community. We started talking with the township, Tom Rowe, the township supervisor, about possible areas where we could move. And that's what led us to a site at the near the community center, which is referred to as the bus barn. We do have a presentation, but it's not up. So. Anyway.
It was up.
Yeah.
We have a new
Oh, no,
presentation.
oh, we're doing this one too.
There's
I
one
didn't do
about-
that one. Yeah. We're doing this and the new one, sorry.
Oh, that's okay.
You can
Okay.
go to the next slide. Okay. So this is a general site aerial of the proposed location. We're actually looking at 2 bays of the bus barn, which is the circled area, and that's just to the west of the community center and just south of the township building. As you can see, there's a great deal of parking. We just think it's a great space. The township is willing to lease it to the food pantry at virtually no cost, and so it's just really a good fit. Go to the next one, please. We're looking at the 2 bays there, and we would have our own dedicated door to come into the facility. The current use is just storage for the township road commissioner, and he has indicated that he's willing to move his equipment out to a new space, so it kind of opens up that space for us. We're just at concept level, but if you go to the next slide, please. The idea is we would just have basically a single space with a restroom, possibly an office. That would then be the food pantry, and we would obviously build out the space, develop the floor, HVAC, water, sewer, all the things that you would have for a build out. We haven't gotten much beyond the concept plan, but we do know that it's feasible for the food pantry to do it, and the space is adequate, and the parking is good, and the access is good. So we're wanting to move forward, but obviously we weren't going to move forward until we knew that we could occupy and operate out of the space. So if you go to the next slide, please. Tentative schedule is that depending on how this vote will go, if the text amendment is approved, we would proceed in June with final plans for the floor plan and build out. And then we would use July for permitting and bidding, and then do the build out, hopefully sooner, but as I think everybody knows with construction these days, oftentimes there's 1 or 2 critical items you can't get. So August, September, be build out, and then we're hoping by the end of the year we would move and occupy the new space. So, we think it's a great location. The township has been super to work with. Town Road has been a great partner for us, and so we're hoping that you would make that consideration. I know Sherry can give you more information on how the food pantry operates, who they serve, and all that. But I just wanted to give you that overview on the location, why we think it's a great location, and we appreciate staff's creativity in coming up with a way to find out how we could operate in that space. So appreciate it, and again, happy to answer any questions. And I know if Sherry wants to say anything, she can certainly do that. So that's it for this phase of the presentation.
Can see. Any questions for me?
I have a quick question, because currently it's a drive-up situation with it being drive-up.
Hi.
Hi.
I just emailed Danny a presentation link through
by, Google Drive, so I am happy to have your attention because I don't think you know about us, much about us. So let me introduce you. My name is Sherry Frieders. I have been with the food pantry for over 10 years now. I started off as a volunteer. The whole food pantry got going by local family, the Taylors. Melissa Taylor, her two daughters had a Christmas break off and decided to do a fill your doorstep campaign in town, just delivered flyers, and if people could donate, they'd just leave their donations on the front porch. Well, it kind of got bigger, and through word of mouth, Melissa realized that there was more of a need than we thought. And so the food pantry was born, and Pete Wallers was approached by Melissa to see if he could help find a space, and they offered it. We've been housed since 2009 in EEI, and we don't pay rent. I'll just say they're the most generous company. So anyway, so we've been open and provided continuous service even through COVID since 2009. You could go to the next one. So our mission is to provide relief, but it really is just keeping people self-sufficient. I don't think people know this, but to get on SNAP, a family of four has to earn less than $37,000 a year. And for people that get in trouble with a loss of a job, or a divorce, or a spouse, passing, or even we're seeing some adult children come in whose parents don't have the money to go into a housing facility. So they're quitting their job, one of the couple, and taking care of an elderly parent at home. That happens. So there's lots of reasons, and food insecurity is in every single community in America. You wouldn't think it was here. It's not real prevalent here. And Nicole can also answer to that. She's a social worker at Kingwood School District, and the housing costs are kind of high here, so we don't get a lot of poverty, but we do get a lot of people in a lot of debt, and they're underwater, and kids go without. And it's like skipping meals for parents because they don't have enough to buy strawberries for the family, so they're skipping meals so their kids can eat. So anyway, next slide. So right now we currently serve about 198 families, but we log about 5,000 to 6,000 household visits. We're open one night a week, on Thursdays from 5:30 to 7. We went to a drive-through model after COVID. We didn't have the space to separate and make it work. And it seems like the clients like it as a drive-through. We used to be a self-choice pantry, which we're going to set up to be. But we get about 30 to 45 cars on Thursdays, and we're pretty much done in an hour. We also deliver to seniors. There's a senior building up behind Walgreens, so we deliver to homebound seniors and a few disabled people in Sugar Grove. And children make up a quarter of everybody we serve. So, next slide. So here's some age groups, just kind of a pie chart to show that half of our the people we serve are seniors and children. Next slide. So there's just a little ethnicity background of who comes in. And the next slide. So like I said, we provide weekly grocery assistance. We do have the capability of going self-choice in the future, but we're a drive-through right now. We deliver to homebound seniors, and we also do school supply distribution at the beginning of each school year. And we have holiday meal boxes for Thanksgiving and Christmas. And then we provide more than just food. We do diapers and toothpaste, over-the-counter, cold medicines, cleaning supplies, a lot more than just that. And that really takes a load off of, all those things are expensive. So the majority of our food source is through community food donations. donations. We have several drop boxes around the village, like the Sugar Grove Animal Hospital, and the Township Building, I believe, still gets it, and several others, Anytime Fitness. So folks just kind of drop the shelf-stable products in there. But we also have direct partners through Northern Illinois Food Bank, which we're also plugged into Feeding America. Jewel and Aldi give us product every Thursday morning. Our volunteers go over, and there's a certain protocol we use to make sure everything's cold when it leaves the store and cold when it gets there. We're overseen by the King County Health Department. And then we'll purchase as well. Most of our food comes through the food bank though, because we're not charged tax. And I mean, honestly, when you go buy a box of cereal at a grocery store and it's $5, we can get it for $1.50. So, next slide. So then our funding sources are mainly individual donors, community organizations. We have some corporate and foundation giving. I do write grants, those are fun. Houses of worship, and then just fundraisers, which we haven't done a lot of recently because of COVID. So our financials, the bulk of it goes right to our clients. We have low overhead, which we need to keep it that way. And we really haven't spent a whole lot on fundraising, but that's about where we're at financially. And then we also have a lot of community volunteers, and they're anchor volunteers. It's great kind of getting the people that need help and the people that can give help together. It's kind of a really cool energy at the food pantry. So we're supportive, and so are they. I think sometimes our clients give us back more. And that's just a little bit of what we've got going on now. Our space will change, hopefully. Next slide. And holiday meals are a lot of fun. So we offer local businesses. And we've had several First National came out to help with Christmas, so there's opportunities for the community to get involved as well. Next slide. And that's it. I think I covered everything. Do you have any questions?
Thank you, Heather, for all that you do.
Oh, thanks.
Does anybody have any questions for them?
Would you be able to link the township parking lot to the community house parking lot?
Yeah, and that is one thing we are going to look at, that we thought would be a good thing if we went to a drive-through, it would work better, so we're definitely looking at that. Again, we didn't want to get too far ahead of ourselves, but, because I know we'll be coming back, I presume for, site plan or I'm not quite sure how your system works, but that is something on the table. Obviously, cost is important to us, so it might be a phased part of our project. Can't guarantee we do it out of the gate, but we are going to look at it.
Kind of go around in the building for that, right?
We haven't, it's maybe not perfect, but I think we could swing cars around and bring them through. Yeah. Because the food pantry volunteers come out to the cars. So I think it's,
For what it's worth, we did the free senior lunch we had during COVID. We were out next door.
Julie, I'm sorry, Julie, do you mind? So we get to you. I would just do it all.
I'm with food pantry, but I'm also with the senior lunches, and during COVID, we handed out lunches at the community building, because that's where the senior lunch is. And there's enough room for them, we had clones out there and stuff, and volunteers, they were just fine. But Sherry, I think it was Nicole's idea, there's a little tiny strip of land between the township building and the community building that would be, I think, not into construction or anything. It looks like it would be something very simple, and that way you could have real easy in and out. It would be like a good
Thank you.
Brad, do we still have water main easement through the township? Or through a parking lot?
There should be. There's water main not far away though.
Yeah, for some reason I thought there was an easement.
There's a sanitary sewer easement that runs north-south on the property between the buildings, but I don't think it's going to And, you know, sewer and water is available, we come back, you know, for permit for the village, but, you know, that was another thing that was attractive about this location, is that the utilities were available to us as well.
And you serve more than just the Sugar Grove community, correct?
We serve Kingman School District, so that can go out to Montgomery. I can go out to Montgomery, West Aurora, slices of that, just everywhere, out to Virgil.
Yep.
We have a few people coming from Yorkville, there's one group, one family whose parents live here close. Oh, we also serve Big Rock. So some of it, sometimes it's convenient on the way home, but we're cable district.
Yep.
And you helped.
Yep.
And your mom was involved in our pantry.
Yeah.
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 Nice to see you again.
Yeah, really important what you guys do, and casts a bigger net than just Sugar Grove.
I don't think anybody here is disputing the fact that we all support what you're doing and your efforts. And EEI, thank you for just being an amazing business within our community. That it's not only the food pantry, right? You've got people picking up trash. You're always donating. You're always putting the community first. So we appreciate that. I think the text amendment is written in such a way that it is very specific to this property and this property alone. So unless I hear otherwise, I think the village board will unanimously approve this. If it's put on the village board agenda next meeting with the ordinance stating so. Okay? That's it. So we'll have it up for approval next meeting, which is actually the 18th. We'll put it on the consent agenda on the 18th.
Thanks.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. Up next, staff reports. Sorry. Scott.
Just want to mention the next meeting will be held at Lawrence Community College for the village board. There will be a public hearing for the TIF. Did want to mention that the public hearing, the focus will be, just like the JRB was, on the eligibility report and redevelopment plan and project. It's focused more towards the creation of the TIF, not the project that could potentially be happening inside the TIF. That's the documents and everything that's available. That is all on our website. On the Sugar Grove page, we've updated with information. And also, if people are interested, the video from the JRB is available online to watch as well.
Thank you,
I can answer any questions.
Does anybody have any questions for Scott? Hearing none, we discussed it at the last meeting, it is in the staff report, but positive meeting with the board regarding our 26th center, so just a highlight on that item. Ma'am,
Nothing to add.
any questions for Matt? Hearing none. Thank you. Dean Mayor?
Nothing to add. I have a question for Renee. Perfect. In regards to the open burning ordinance, last time I checked today, it was not posted as being banned. I know, so I know there was some confusion, because when I go online to the website and I try to look for open burning, then it directs me to the ordinance that does not ban the open burning of leaves. It gives me the old ordinance. So are we not enforcing it yet?
We are enforcing it. We have had a lot of residents complaining that it's not on the website. We are working on getting something on the website.
So if we could possibly, because I would be a little annoyed if, I go and look and it says I can, and that's the only source I have.
Understood.
So.
So Chief, can you, we're working on like an informational leaflet, and also there is a lag from approval to the codification company updating it, but we'll reach out to them specifically on the leaflet to try to get that spelled out.
Can we also, on the website itself, or frequently asked questions? I don't know if open burning was when I looked, if we could add that or something and make sure, where it's a real quick click someone can get to. If it
go ahead, I know there's definitely this understanding.
No, I appreciate it. So so we're all tag teaming on this, and, it's new, so we're gonna do our due diligence and just, advise the residents of the new ordinance that, was passed. At the next board meeting, you also see an amendment to 642, I think it is, which is the open burning ordinance. What's items that are listed in the definition, what are not permitted to be burned. I'm gonna bring back the word leaves to be included in that definition. It talks about untreated or treated wood to garbage to other materials. I'm going to make sure that one says leaves specifically in there. So you'll see something at the next board meeting just to change the definition. It's just a housekeeping item, but we've had a couple complaints. We did training again with our officers, with the fire department received it. We've had a couple calls that we've gone on, and just it's really, again, just the message that we're going to be getting out to the public, and it's coming, and that's one of the things that we're using our resources to utilize to put that message out. We'll tap Crayons as well, because I got enough on my plate, but we're going to try to get as much messaging out there because it is a big item that everyone's starting to burn again. But I want you to all to be aware is we burn leaves, trees, tree limbs, material as long as it goes in the container and it's within the 3-foot diameter and no higher than 3 feet in height, it's permitted. So as long as it's untreated wood. So if I know you mentioned before at one of the meetings, if they have a dead tree or diseased tree, the residents still can burn that, just not leaves. So we're not going to be able to check if 90% of it is all wood or a couple percent leaves. We'll know from the smoke itself. So, but it's coming. So.
Okay, just, maybe like the Facebook post.
Yes. Yeah. No. It's.
We're working on what's out there.
Yeah, no, just because it's the time of year and questioning.
And I think I've definitely received, and I know she did too, but questions and concerns regarding, well, my child and my child's friend has asthma and still can't go outside. The misunderstanding they had, we were banning all burning. And it's really banning leaf burning, not contained fire recreational type of burning. So we want to continue and let the community to have the ability to have an outdoor fire on a nice night, or maybe they have an outdoor fireplace and that kind of thing. So that has not been taken away as of right. It's just the burning of the leaves that was there. So we'll have to do better and work on that communication piece. Thank you.
Any other questions for Danny? Thank you. Chief?
That was the one thing I was going to let you know that I was bringing forth back to the board. So be happy to answer any other questions.
Any questions for Chief?
Who's our school resource officer do now?
That's great.
He is. So he's filling. It's vacation season, so a lot of the officers take off. So he's going to be filling in some open shifts. Right now he's on day shift. Starting Monday, he goes to afternoon shift for a month. So he's rotating perfectly, and we'll use him for special assignments as well.
Any other questions for Chief? Hearing none? Brad?
Nothing to add, except for the road program is going very well. They finished all the concrete work. Some's changed since my report. They finished patching all the driveway aprons, and they're actively milling. So I believe they finished milling the cul-de-sacs this afternoon, so they'll start the main line stuff. And they'll pave it back in the same way. They'll start with the cul-de-sacs and then pave the main line. They said probably 15 days total for milling and then reinstalling the surface. So we should be done by the end of June.
Thank you. I'm sure those residents are thrilled. The process to live with to get a uniform result on new streets and sidewalks. Any questions for Brad? Hearing none, Michael.
Thank you. I have 2 items. First of all, as you may know, the former Chesterbrook Academy location, 95 Park, has been vacant for about 7 years. This has been a priority for us to find a tenant and take that space. Talked to many national daycare providers over the past year and a half, working with Cape Commercial, the brokerage firm for the owner. The last 10 months, we're working with the broker for a national daycare and early childhood learning company called Bright Path. They have 175 locations throughout the United States and Canada. Many of them under the name Busy Bee. And I'm pleased to announce that 2 days ago, or yesterday actually, they signed a lease to occupy that space. They'll be entering the Illinois market, so this is going to be a new market for them. They'll be enhancing the exterior and remodeling of the interior. They've already talked to Danny about the PUD issues and signage. And the marketing department will be contacting me. We'll work closely with them. They're going to make a public announcement, and then we'll help them with the grand opening. But it's a 10,000 square foot building or so, and now a new tenant coming to Sugar Grove. Second item I had is I wanted to give you just a brief update on the International Council Shopping Center show that I attended in May. There's in my staff report, I kind of go into a lot of detail. For those of you that aren't aware, this is the largest annual conference for the retail and restaurant development industry. We targeted restaurants, retail, hotels, and commercial developers. We also spoke to several daycare center providers as a backup in case we didn't get White Path. The contacts were made with 5 national hotel companies, all of whom expressed some level of interest once they believe that a market is here for them. That was Choice, Hilton, Hyatt, IHG, and Marriott. Also made contacts with a lot of restaurants, including 4 restaurant companies that are under different multiple brands. You see them listed in the report. And then also contacts were made with some retailers and also one of the nation's largest pickleball companies called The Pickler. We also met with them. Follow-up has already begun. In addition to that, the village will be exhibiting at the 2024 ICSC show in September, the Chicago show at the Hilton Chicago. This will give us the opportunity to have direct face-to-face follow-up meetings. And we've already confirmed booth 523, right next to us. So look forward to that. Okay, to answer the question.
Thank you, Michael. I think it's very exciting for the entire community that we put a Facebook post out that a lease has been signed for Chesterbrook, and that we will hopefully be able to start releasing the weeds and maintenance of that exterior of that property. So it's exciting. I'm hopeful that we're successful here. I'm sure anybody have any questions or comments on Michael?
Not a question, but just a clarification point about economic development. Discussions with Crown Community Development predate our incentive policy. So we implemented that maybe 6-8 months ago, and we've been working with Crown for several years. So they predate that policy in general, so they would not have gone through the steps outlined in the policy because we've already been working with them before it was adopted.
I'm going to address that too. If there's nothing further for staff, we'll get to trustee reports. Trustee Michaels.
Nothing.
Thank you. Trustee White.
Nothing. Congratulations.
Thank you. Trustee Lundy.
I did attend the library board meeting. There's a lot of information on existing building and all the facility, all the maintenance that need to be done and such on. Other than that,
Thank you. Trustee Aaron.
School's out, keep your eye out for kids riding around, checking out Cold Stone, all that good stuff. They're out and about, so keep your eyes peeled.
Yeah, thank you. Trustee Bonnie.
Nothing this evening.
Thank you. And just to go back to Trustee Aaron's point, I noticed it yesterday on the vision, and kudos to the kids that were riding bikes and actually stopped at the intersection here between Jake Johns and Duncan. And stopped at that sidewalk. Their instinct was probably to keep going on the sidewalk and stuff. So I was going to say, PSA is just to keep your eyes out, so what I can do. So I know my kids are enjoying riding through forces or trying to get to McDonald's and Starbucks, and Coldstone, so, good time for the young kids. President's report this evening, the only thing I wanted to highlight is just there was a ribbon cutting at Chelsea Park, donation by Kiwanis over a handicap accessible swing. And Kiwanis has made a commitment to that effort for all parks going forward in our district. Puts in with the 49 handicap accessible swing. So that's a nice community ad by a great organization. The incentive policy I want to address as well is that those particular items, when they are brought forward, I think that you're looking at it, thank you, you're looking at it through the lens of one developer, which is Crown Community Development. When you look at the policy, the way it's written, a lot of our TIF districts are existing. So when somebody is coming forward and asking for a request, they have to meet the criteria that's set forth in that development for that policy. Crown is no different. They're still going to have to meet and hit those and highlight those criteria. What you're interested in is really the redevelopment agreement. And the redevelopment agreement is not out. It's not anything that they've submitted to the village of Sugar Grove for consideration for it to be vetted by staff at this time. So it's still in that conversation. I guess it's still verbal at this point until they have a document that will be shared with the village board. So that's not, that's something staff is working on. Staff report says at every meeting that he's working with Crown. So we'll see what happens when that comes forward or if it doesn't come forward. If it doesn't come forward, I think it's very telling about the rest of the development. So it's not, I'm sorry. Happy to stay and answer any questions here. So that's all I actually had on my list of items. Other than I just wanted to add that I am along with staff meeting with tax and values and JRB is over. And so we're having conversations to understand the impact of the development if it wants to come forward on the other tax and values. We did that. I feel like we've done that, and I've done that over the last year and a half, 2 years. And so now, knowing that the JRB meeting happened, it kind of starts their time frame as a developer, and so those meetings are even more crucial at this time. That's all I have for this evening.
Motion to adjourn.
Thank you, sir.
Second.
I have a first motion to adjourn on trustee White, first by Mr. White, and second by trustee Hunt. Roll call. Oh, no, trustee Herring. Ready? Who said trustee Herring? Sorry, thank you, Tracy. Roll call.
Trustee White?
Aye.
Trustee Heron?
Aye.
Trustee Michaels?
Aye.
Trustee Lundy.
Aye.
Trustee Bonnie?
Aye.
Thank you. Motion passes.